Bridgestone and Upper Sandusky is quickly becoming the best team in town. The only thing we are missing is you. We are now hiring operators making $15.69 an hour and going to $20.02 in just 12 months. Come join us. Make great money, get fantastic benefits, and work with the best team in town. Hey, I'm Hannah.
And I'm Amanda. And this is a podcast where we talk Wyandot business and the people who help run them.
What's up, Wyandot?
All right, welcome back to another episode of What's Up, Wyandot.
Hello, everyone.
Oh, so today we have got Tom Smith, owner of Tomasso. So
Yes.
welcome.
Good morning.
Morning. So I feel like you have such a crazy life and story of how everything got started. So we can just hop in. If you want to give us kind of the storyline of, because I know you were in Columbus, and you got dragged back here to Upper, and then pizza and restaurants. So let us know what.
Well, I was a chef. I got out of the military in the early 90s and moved to Columbus to go to OSU. So I was down there to be a graphic designer, and I started cooking to pay the wage, pay my rent while I was in college, and I found out I really liked cooking. I learned to cook really young with my grandma, and I'm from Western Pennsylvania, kind of like the foothills of Appalachian, very mixed pot, lots of Italian and Polish, and so I grew up with really good food, but at the time I just ate, you know. So when I was cooking to go to OSU, I kind of liked it, so I stopped going to college and stayed with cooking. And I worked at probably 10 or 15 restaurants down in Columbus, was the head chef at a few, and learned kind of on-the-job training, basically. Worked for some very good chefs. And then married Abby, and she's from Upper, and so we started coming to the fair. And I fell in love with it. I'm from a small town in Pennsylvania. I'd lived in the city because chefs live in the city. Right. They have to, because that's where the jobs are. Yeah. And but coming up to here reminded me of home. Reminded me of all the people and just the care for the community and everything. So we immediately made a plan to start finding a way to come up here. So when the opportunity arose, we opened a small pizza shop up at Drug Mart. Yeah. And what happened is we started having these. I got bored just making pizza, so I started having these private dinners out in Sycamore, and we sold out every time. So that kind of told me that there was a niche for what I do for our foods, and so it gave us the gumption to quit everything down there and move full time up here, which got rid of a commute that I hated. So that's a boring drive down every day. Yes. So we opened that, and then that went well. So when Mugsy's had closed, it kind of opened a Italian food niche in Upper. So we fell right into it. And so it's been beautiful. We've been having a great time since we've opened.
Yeah, and his pizzas are not boring. As you say, he got bored making pizza because
it's the same thing. How many times can you can have, people were kind of getting weirded out because I was doing things that shouldn't be on a pizza because we were a pizza shop.
What doesn't go on a pizza?
Well, things are a little complicated to eat, if you're putting steak and stuff like that on.
Like a whole steak?
No, chopped up.
Yeah, because he makes one, it's like, what is it, the bird? It's something.
Oh, the yard bird.
Yard bird.
Yeah. So good chicken pizza, and we try to do things that are outside the box because there's a lot of pizza in town, a lot of really good pizza. Yes. So we don't want to be a direct competitor. We want to do something different. Right. And add to the community.
Right. So it's not the typical pizza. You can get normal pizza, but then there's
There's a place down in Columbus called Dewey's, and they opened right across the street from the Worthington Inn when I was the chef there. They did that. Yeah. I really was like, wow, I like this pizza because it's different. It's like melted mushroom too. They do a really good job. So we kind of modeled ours. We went and actually went to Pittsburgh and Brooklyn and went all over to find good pizza, So we tried to come up with something that people would like, and they have. So. Wow. Yeah.
So who would be so you've worked with chefs and stuff. Mm-hmm. So who would be the biggest name?
Oh no, just local.
Just local.
Yeah, Marcel was my mentor. He was the guy who taught me how to cook, and he had a big name in San Francisco back in the '70s. And he taught at the Culinary Institute in San Francisco. So he's a really good teacher. Yeah. Kent Rigsby down there was a real big influence on me too. He's the one that actually Marcel had taught him 20 years prior
Oh wow,
And
that's
so he
cool.
brought him to Columbus to run his restaurant. I got to work for him. It was like the best. It was, I was in my late 20s and I was like a sponge. So it was like, I was absorbing a lot of information. So it was
I
great.
mean, those people are the ones that you remember as you carry on into your new stuff. So,
Right. Yeah.
Well, awesome.
Is there a celebrity chef or any sort of like big person that you like idolize, try to aspire to be like that? Or?
Yeah, of course. Like any kind of career field, you're going to find the people that are at the top of the field and kind of look up to them.
Yeah.
So, John George von Richten was a big one. And when I went to his restaurant in New York, he came out and said hello, and it was
That's cool.
That was my celebrity moment. And then, Thomas Keller at the French Laundry. And, there's a lot of them. I have an extensive, I've got about 350 cookbooks. But then I have like 15 that are like ragged. So that tells you, the other ones are kind of fluff. They're pretty and there's things that you might get from them, but there's some that I hardcore use.
Yeah.
And that's, I don't remember who wrote it, but The Joy of Cooking, my grandmother gave me when I got married. And I use that more than anything because it's got all your basic, biscuits and dough and, whatever you need, pie dough, and really good thing. I highly recommend that for anyone who.
Right.
I think it's Baumgarten or something. Yeah.
And it's like something that you can pass when you're training chefs or anything,
Oh,
the simplistic parts of cooking.
No, yeah, that's what, I try to hire people that are interested in cooking, and people that aren't, that just couldn't be, they have to do it, you know what I mean? It's
Right,
kind of
not just like a
to
job.
do.
Yeah.
Right. So we're doing that right now, we have a lot of people, I have guys that have been with me since I opened the pizza shop the whole time, so.
Yeah, and I mean that gives them the experience and they get to learn from you like you learn from the
Right.
others and
That's
maybe they'll take it off one day,
right, yeah, right. It's definitely a job that's, there's nothing glamorous about it. Not like going home and smelling like food all the time.
Yeah.
My dogs love it.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. Well, that's awesome. So you've now been downtown here in Upper for 3?
Yeah, going on 3, I
years?
think, because we had the first year, then we had COVID, and then we had, this is our 3rd year.
And now do you still offer delivery now?
No more delivery.
No more
We
delivery,
didn't keep a driver. We were doing maybe like 8 to 10 deliveries a week.
Yeah.
So that's not enough to really keep one on.
Yeah.
But we do curbside still.
Oh, yeah.
And, we have a good pickup. But we have a good to-go program. We were lucky enough. We debated where we were going to open our restaurant. I'm so glad we did it in Upper because everyone came together and supported us during COVID. Really, we would have gone out of business anywhere else, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody was good. But we stayed on it. When I saw that this was happening, we looked at like Seattle, and it happened, COVID hit there like 2 months before us.
Yeah.
So I kind of did my research and found out what are they doing there, so we got on the ball early and started pickup and delivery.
Kind of think outside of the box when that kind of thing happens.
Oh, come on, man. Who would have thought?
Right. Like people that didn't even think about doing carry out or something like that, to know that you could do that and then still survive.
And that's what
we're supporting you.
And that's what helped us immensely is that we were a pizza shop. So we had delivery bags, we had to-go stuff. And people were used to getting takeout and delivery from us already. So that saved our butts, I think.
Yeah. And it's so nice. Just like now, we, like you said, we have pizza shops and things like that, but it's like, if you want to go, I feel like you have the best of both worlds. You can go in and you can just go get wings and pizza and hang out, or you can go there to have like a fine dining experience of, getting your.
And that's a hard mix to keep hold of, it really is, because that's what we wanted, it was hard because we inherited this huge pizza menu, and then we're trying to do finer stuff, and you don't want to get rid of everything because people like, what you've given them. So now, that's our biggest complaint from our cooks is like, we cook so much.
So much, yeah.
So my other chefs from Columbus, when they see my menu, they laugh because they're like, it's so big. How do you do it? But a lot of it's pizza and it's like mix and match, so that's not too hard.
Yeah, I've heard really good reviews about the keto pizza.
Good, yeah.
Yeah, my friend, she's tried it like every day this week.
It's hard to cut. I was on that diet. I lost some weight on it, and somebody I know is always on it.
Yeah.
So we did it as a request for a regular customer, and he told me how to do it. He's like, you have to just make a cheese crust basically, and so it sells well. We do a keto Cobb salad too. And we can do a lot of things keto. There's some people that they've come in and asked for like a pasta bowl without the pasta.
Right.
So it's all this stuff, and we laugh, and then we eat it.
We don't like that, but
it's like, oh my Lord. So.
Well, that's awesome. I was actually talking to Luke Smith's almost son-in-law, Drew Trusty, because he was in here playing our 10-year class reunion.
Oh, cool.
And he was brought up, because we're bringing up this wedding, he's like, yeah, I'm having my rehearsal dinner at Don Tomasso's.
Yeah.
And we were talking about the food. I'm like, you know what's crazy? It's stuff like, I mean, I can make spaghetti at home. It's like, to me, the easiest thing to make.
Mm.
But yeah, when I go to your restaurant, I order spaghetti because I'm like,
Right.
it tastes so much different.
Thanks.
And I think that's what it's like. No matter what you go, you're gonna get an experience.
It's grandma's recipe. She'll like
Delicious. Yeah, because I'm like, it's just a sauce.
Yeah. Well,
It's
yeah,
so
you know,
good.
I grew up with I'm Scotch Irish, but my stepdad was Italian, and so he always cooked the red. You know, and he made the sauce, and he just, you know, he wasn't a chef or he wasn't a cook even. That's what he made.
Right.
And it was
I feel like
good.
you have that in your blood.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So then I watched him do it, and I did it. I do it the same way.
Yeah.
You know, when you get a lot of times when I got into a fine dining kitchen, I was like, oh, I couldn't make that. But then you realize that the people that showed you right.
Yeah.
So you are making it. You know, so I made a stew. I remember making my chef. He said, go ahead and make the stew. And I said, oh, I can't do that. And he said, just make it like you'd make it at home. And I made it, and everybody was like, wow, that's really good.
Yeah.
And so that told me that there's some basic ideas to it. And if you get them right, if you use good locally sourced ingredient,
Yeah.
you know, and if you make it, you don't rely on a package or even a little bit of a cheap.
And that's what you
Yeah.
do. You do a lot of your locally grown.
Yeah, we try to do as much as we can.
Yeah.
We'd do more if we were introduced, you know.
Yeah.
A lot of times I don't have time to go down to the market. I wish the market was downtown.
Yeah.
But, you know, we get our greens from Bucyrus for our salads, just like you can buy at A&A.
Yeah.
Bruce does a great job with that. Deanne does all our eggs, you know, out of Funkhauser Farm.
Yeah.
And so, you know, we try to do as much as I do. A lot of tomatoes from my house. We ran a really big garden, but with COVID, we kind of I lost time to go take care of it.
Oh,
so
sure.
we have a lot of customers who grow and bring stuff. All our hot sauce was made with local peppers.
Wow.
Sounds awesome.
You know, one guy grew it all, and Jake. So.
you can give him she just started a garden. She finally has one pepper.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
So she's
Peppers
so
are hard,
excited.
man.
Yeah.
Well, it's because like I live in a condominium area, so I'm not allowed to put stuff in the ground. So I figured I would try. Okay, I want fresh vegetables. So I have all these
Pots.
buckets
Yeah.
and pots on my porch, and I
So it's a basil?
I
got
have basil,
time.
actually.
Okay.
it's like that's
Someone
one
brought me a
the
whole
ones
flat
I
of
want.
basil. You need some? I got a whole flat. Yeah, I have pots all out back of the restaurant with basil on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because we use a lot of that. It's
Oh
expensive.
yeah.
People like my tomato plant. I put it in a bucket and it exploded, and it's huge. I have one tomato. I just saw it for the first time this morning, and then I checked my pepper plant, and I was getting worried because I'm like, they're not getting big. Am I doing something wrong? And then I woke up and I went out to water them, and there's one little itty bitty pepper. And I'm like, it's here. I
Nice.
did it.
You did it. I was like, you made it better. It's great.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean,
It
to do.
is.
Some people. I live in Kildare, so the ground is not very good.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, like the farmer that lives by me goes by laughing. What are you trying to do, farm? And I said, I'm just growing a garden.
I'm just trying to get a
We're
garden.
shipping in dirt now.
It is hard. We kind of like did it together. So like mine's in the ground. My boyfriend built me like it's just like a wood square
Right.
box.
Like a raised bed.
But it's like so irritating. I think I'm like, I have some kind of little bug that's eating the plants, and then it's like these squirrels came and dug up some stuff, and I'm like, you have to like protect your vegetables, and then it's like we try to go out and water them and stuff. But then it's like once you get something, it's like I
It's
grew
worth it.
this. It's
Oh,
so
yeah.
great.
And it's
It's
really
fresh.
nice when you can use it as an ingredient, you know,
Yes.
and cost effective.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, really.
Yeah.
They're very good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And you have now expanded into the right side. I know you
Yeah,
can't use that. So what is
Well,
that?
we had a banquet room, but you know, there's Shotzi's does the bigger banquets in town, and you know, I think there's room for all of us. I try to do the smaller things. We do less than 40,
Mhm.
you know, 40 or less. So it's perfect for rehearsal dinners, bridal showers, and things like that. And we redid the whole room. We added a pool table and a dartboard for the one
Yes.
side, and a 82-inch ginormous TV. And then we have a curtain that closes, so you can have both sides. We just had the reception that was in there not too long ago. They did the whole thing. They played pool the whole time, and we had it all set up nice for them. So we do a full menu over there for the bigger parties. We do like buffets and
Yeah.
plated, but we can't do a whole menu. But for up to 15, we can do the whole menu.
Yeah.
And see, I'm different as I don't charge her a fee, so it's free as long as you spend some money while you're over there.
That's
You know what I
so
mean?
nice.
So we try to keep it. And now we're staying on the small side. So.
Yeah. Then you can get the catering and the food
Right,
for you
right.
guys, and then you guys have like the bar section, right?
Mhm.
So,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. We repainted the whole restaurant. My wife was just saying I still haven't painted the bedroom, but I painted the restaurant twice. But so we just wanted to give it a more bright feel. With COVID, it really opened up. You know, like everybody's learned from that.
Yep.
You know, everybody across the world has learned something from it. What we learned is that we want to be multifaceted. We can't just rely on one thing. And we're a small town. It's a nice place to go have a game of pool and a cocktail. We do a happy hour every day. We're trying to be aggressive. You have over 20 beers and lots of bourbons and scotches.
It's nice because you guys have a variety of, I always call them weird beers because that's what I like. And I think it draws your attention. It's when like you go somewhere and it's like, I can drink, I'm a Budweiser drinker, so I'm like, I can get that anywhere.
Right.
So it's like nice, like every time I go up there, it's like you guys have like the most weirdest beer cans and it's stuff that's like, you know, you're not gonna typically go and buy that from the store, so to be able to try that, it's really cool that you bring all the different ones in.
Our biggest hit lately has been those slushies because we brought in we did Moscow Mule on one side and we did like a white wine peach sangria.
Yeah, we did that one sangria the one day.
They've been selling really well. So I think with the hot weather we'll have better with that.
Because we did the sangria and we did the wings.
Yes.
That was the first time I had the wings there.
Wings are good.
It was really
We make all of the sauces for those too. They're all made in house. So.
Yeah, the barbecue sauce is what I got.
Yeah.
I'm very picky with my wings. Good. And I went in and had those and was like, oh my gosh, these are how I like them.
Good.
So,
yeah,
awesome.
It was awesome. It was, for Thankful first day, and we stopped in there at the end.
Oh, yeah.
We're like, oh, he has a slushy machine now. And I'm like, you know what? Because I was like, I'm not too hungry, so I'm like, let's just try the wings.
Right.
And I was like, oh, the sauce was so good.
Good. Yeah.
That's what's like blows my mind when people can make that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a chef.
Yeah.
I try. I'm the person that I try so hard that I end up throwing too much together.
Right.
Where I'm like, oh, here's this and this and that, and then there's seasoning, and it's like much.
There's an old saying. I was stopped by this guy in a place called Ferdue's in the North Market. He said that his grandfather taught him that good cooking is like good painting. If you paint with too many colors, you get brown. If you mix too many colors, and so if you add too many ingredients, it gets lost, and then suddenly, what is it? For me, I like how the Italians cook because they cook with the season.
Yes.
So if there's good asparagus, we're gonna have asparagus. We're gonna have olive oil, lemon, maybe some cheese, and that's it. And if the asparagus isn't in season, we're not gonna have it. The French, they were like, well, we'll make a real good egg sauce and put it on top of it because it tastes like crap.
Yeah.
But the Italians, like the tomatoes and just all that, they look for the ripe of the season, the best of the seasoning, best of the season, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And then they highlight that. So like right now we have walleye in the menu because walleye's going like crazy with they're catching it left and right. So I'm doing it, and everybody loves walleye. That's an Ohio thing. I found out.
Yeah. And that's one thing I've tried to cook asparagus, and I either I'm a nervous person that I'm never gonna cook anything through.
Mm-hmm.
So I like my asparagus a little crunchy, like where I can pick it up with my hand. But I either make it because I try to put olive oil and then salt and pepper, and then I love the basil everything seasoning. So I put that on everything. And it's always frumpy, or then it gets soggy, and I'm like.
Well, I was taught the best way to cook asparagus, if you can, is you have a tall pot of salted water, and the asparagus should go in if you set it the long ways.
Yeah.
The tips will stick out of the water; they won't even go in the water. And so, because they're more delicate than the rest of the thing, they'll just get a light steam. So what you do is you blanch them in the water for however long, depending on their thickness, usually under a minute, and then cool them down. And then once they're cool, but those tips, they never go into the water; they always are above it. And then you'll get there's an old saying too that's called hot pan cold oil. If you can remember that the rest of your life, you'll always be a better cook.
My mom says that all the time.
Yeah, it's so true because people put their oil in their pan at the same time.
Yeah.
And then it's raging by the time you put the food in, and then it splatters, and then it burns the
Yep.
outside. So if you have a hot pan, you add the cold oil, and then you add your product. So it would be hot pan, cold oil, and then you put that chilled, because after you've cooked that asparagus, you need to chill it as fast as you can. So you put it in ice water. And then that stops the cooking there. And it also helps retain it, keep it nice and green. And then you have your hot pan, your cold oil, and you put your asparagus in, you throw your garlic in, toss it around, deglaze with some lemon juice, it's done in under a minute. And then you get that crunchy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what you want. Maybe some Parmesan cheese or an egg on top.
Yeah, I turn on my pan, put on my asparagus, put on oil. Yep, that's my
I just put it on a pan, throw it in the oven, and go, well, it's not.
Think of
It's edible.
pancakes. Pancakes, have you ever made your best pancake usually is your third one.
Yes.
Because then the pan's gotten hot, gotten cool, gotten hot.
Right.
But if you just start and be patient and keep it on 6 or whatever it is on your grill,
Yeah.
and you'll get a good pancake every time.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Now I'm excited to
Yeah.
try my new experience in here.
Well, you have to make it that way. I've told that to
Yeah.
a lot of people, and they've all been happy about it. Because the worst part is if you get that and it's mushy at the end.
That's what
that's
mine
horrible,
is.
man.
Yeah.
That's horrible. So they don't even go in the water. So they stay above it and they get the steam.
Because I feel like I do that because then I like soak it in that olive oil and then everything, and it just sits there and it gets mushy and.
Yeah, it's got to be in the pan and out of the pan, hot pan. And then another good tip is when you make, and this will sound crazy, but I learned this from an Italian, is that if you're gonna make, it works for thinner pastas better. So like capellini, I guess the thickest I go is linguine.
Okay.
So it works really good with spaghetti and angel hair. Is you put your water into the pan and you add a whole lot of salt. And by a lot of salt, I mean like kosher salt, like a cup.
Oh wow.
And that goes in there, and then you bring that to a boil with a lid on it. Take the lid off, put your pasta in, rapidly bring it to another boil, and then turn it off. And then put the lid back on and let it sit. And it takes like 2 more minutes. But what happens is you don't have two things happening. You don't have that violence of cooking, so you don't have all your pasta getting bashed around.
Yeah.
It kind of steeps like tea. So that salt water goes inside the pasta. And most of that salt water you're going to dump back out. So it sounds like a lot of salt, but a lot of it's going down the drain.
Okay.
But the saying was salty like the ocean. That's what you want. So that little bit of pasta water that goes inside is already salted, so it seasons the pasta from the inside.
Oh.
It's really good. One of my favorite things to do. Fresh pasta and maybe some yesterday's sauce.
Ooh, Mike's mind is gonna be blown when I have a really good pasta next time.
It's like basically, all right, taking notes,
Yeah.
do notes for date night.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. So then, going off that, what's your favorite thing to make?
Seafood.
Seafood?
Yeah, we vacation at the same exact spot every year, and we do it because it's abandoned. There's no one there, and it's the really good seafood.
Yeah.
And so we can sit on the beach and make grouper, shrimp, and blue crab. So I like to do it. I found that it sells pretty well to here too, especially like shellfish. If I do my scallops or I do crab.
Yeah, I see that. It's like on Facebook. Everyone's like.
We sell that.
Down there.
We ate grouper last week and it sold really well. We're gonna do walleye with. I'm doing a crab and sweet corn risotto. So I'm gonna do a nice sautéed grouper on top of that tonight.
Yeah, I'll have to
So
have
good.
you come out to one of their. So like when he talked about his private dinners.
Oh yeah,
It's
supper
like,
club.
yeah, so it's like only so many people, and it's like a full course dinner that they bring out.
We do 4 courses.
Yeah.
We do it every last Wednesday of the month, and there's 10 seats left if anybody cares. Actually, when this airs, it'll be that night.
Yeah, so
Wednesday.
just call us and see if there's a spot
So
left.
tonight, what we're having,
Yes.
is so it's 4 courses. So what I do is I kind of define the season, what's good right now, and then I'll write a menu for it, and then my buddy down in Columbus, he owns a wine company. I'll send him the menu, and he'll pair 4 wines.
Oh, that's
So it's $50 for I think $55 for 4 courses. So it's not a cheap night, but it's not it's a good date night. You're gonna
And it's
experience some really good
experience,
food.
yeah.
It's actually a really good party because we keep it at 35. We're all in one room, and so I come out in the beginning and introduce myself and tell everybody why I picked what I picked, and then I'll tell them the wines that we paired with it. And there's a $20 supplement if you get the wines, but then we pour you 3 ounces of each wine that have been specially chosen. They're not on the list. They're from. He sends them up, and so this so we're doing tuna, like an Asian tuna dish, and we're doing vichyssoise, which is like a cold potato and leek soup to start with some smoked salmon, and then we're gonna do an Argentinian steak preparation with chimichurri sauce and some papas bravos. It'll be fun. And Savion for dessert with hopefully I can find some fresh strawberries still. Hopefully they're all picked up, but we're doing fresh berries and Savion for dessert. And then, like I said, there's a couple really good wines picked out. He does an Italian book, so most of the wines we serve are Italian or California.
And I never realized when I did I like wines and drinking wine and stuff until I actually started paying attention, like going to restaurants. And I know they do that with beer as well. Like I saw B-Dubs does that where this
flight,
this wings will go with this flavor, and it's crazy to think how much it does change the palate of when you're eating something and you're drinking a certain wine.
Well, for sure, it's the last ingredient.
And I never realized that because I'm I've drank wines that I've liked, and sometimes I don't like it the next time, and I didn't realize that the food that you eat and the wine that you drink can
Well, I'll call
change
things.
it
We have a couple wines on that I call cocktail wines. Our Red Zinfandels one is that it's standalone good. You know what I mean? You don't really need. So it's a cocktail. You could just have a glass of wine. Cabs are like that for me too, a lot of them. But then you get into some Malbecs and then some sweeter whites and stuff like that. And they work really well with specific foods. You know, and I was lucky enough. We had 180 labels at the Worthington Inn.
Wow.
So we had 5,000-6,000 bottles of wine in the basement. So and then I managed the front of the house there too. So I had to learn. And when I started, I drank whatever was cheap.
Right. Yeah.
Argentinian wine or whatever. So when I got to buy all the wine, so every Monday I would have all the wine guys they wanted to sell. They'd come and taste, and then they talked the crazy, I'm not crazy, but I mean it's very specific. I was at a wine tasting one time, and it was white wine. It was like a Viognier, and the guy put it in his mouth and he did the noise and stuff. He said, "Riverstone." And I was like, "You taste Riverstone?" I was like, "When have you had Riverstone in your mouth?"
Right. It is one of those super I think of wood with
exactly.
It's like,
exactly.
what?
Right.
But they know their stuff, and it's
So
I'm just like, wow.
But I learned
tastes
a lot.
like strawberries. It's
Yeah.
great. It's great that way. Yeah.
Good. Well, I'm thinking at this point it's going to be a good moment to hear a quick word from our sponsors, and then we will be right back.
Bridgestone and Upper Sandusky is quickly becoming the best team in town. The only thing we are missing is you. We are now hiring operators making $15.69 an hour and going to $20.02 in just 12 months. Come join us, make great money, get fantastic benefits, and work with the best team in town.
Okay, and we are back here with part 2 of our episode on Don Tomasso's. And I actually just have a question. I was looking at this and wondering, your name is Tom Smith.
Yes.
So is the Tomasso in Don Tomasso, is that a play off your name?
Yes.
Oh, you were right. I was like, no.
Well, it's worse than that. We were gonna, when we came up when we were gonna do the pizza shop, we realized that there's already there's really no Italian named pizzas. We were gonna call it. We had a name like Farmhouse Pizza. We're gonna call it because we kind of invented our pizza out at our house. And then I realized, that most of the names in town, none of them were really that ethnic. And I thought, well, let's call it something Italian. That'll be fun because then we could branch into Italian food. And when we were thinking of a name, when I was made the chef at Rigsby's down in Columbus, the owner's wife said, "Hey, we're going to make you the chef. Your name's going to go on the menu. How do I write it?" And I said, "Well, Tom Smith. Thomas? You want to call me Tom?" "Well, it's kind of not very Italian. I looked it up on a thesaurus and I found that Thomas in Italian is Tomasso.
Ooh.
Can we call you that?" And I was like, "No." No one will know me, so Tomasso. Yeah. So when we were thinking of a name for this place, we said, well, Tomasso's, that would be fun.
Yeah.
So it's already taken. It's at a million places. So we thought, well, what can we add to it? And then one of my favorite movies is The Godfather, and Don Corleone is the head of the thing. Well, I have 6 kids, so I'm the head of this family.
That's right.
So we said Don Tomasso's. And that wasn't taken nationally, but there is a place in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and they call drunk late at night, and they'll order pizza from us. And we stopped trying to tell them otherwise. We just take the order.
Yeah, no, we're saying taking. They wonder where it's at.
And it's funny because I pick up on the accent when they call because it's that Pennsylvania accent that I grew up with. So
I know.
so Don Tomasso. So
That's cool.
I'm a fan of The Office.
Same.
So that's
great.
me.
Yeah,
great.
that's what I was
good,
just thinking. I was like, oh, that's great. Well, yeah. Because she said something about Don Tomasso. She's like, I wonder where the name came from. And she's like, probably Tom. And I'm like, no, that doesn't make sense. So I'm like, probably just like tomato, Tomasso.
Spanky from Spanky's Pizza calls me
Don
Tomato.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because I had a boring name growing up, Tom Smith, and then I changed it to Don Tomasso, so everybody calls me Don now.
Yes.
So I went from Tom to Don. And in hindsight, I would have called it Rocky Tomassos or something cool.
Yeah, because I would say Don T's.
Yeah.
So my boyfriend's from Attica, so it's all new and stuff. And he's like, I really wanna. He's like, there's one restaurant that I haven't tried yet. And I was like, oh, Don T's. And he's like, no, that's not a restaurant. And I was like, no, Don Tomasso's. He's like, oh. He's like, oh, is it just because Don runs it? And I was like, yes. Please call him Don.
Yeah. Everybody does. I'm glad to see people, so I don't care what you call them.
Yeah, and I think that's what's cool too. Is when you go there, I feel like not that you're always there, but you're not just in the background.
No.
I mean, you're walking around, asking people how it's going.
Trying to get out of the kitchen, it's hot.
Yeah, yeah. And then you are currently hiring for a bartender.
Yeah, we're looking for we're trying to stay open later on the weekends. Maybe stay open until midnight. Right now, it seems like the streets kind of roll up at 9:30. So I'd like to get people to stay out a little later. With the addition of the pool and the darts and running some specials. But
and see, that would be cool if we kind of talked off air here. If you started your mic night, we can open it later.
Yeah, we want to add.
That'd be a cool scene.
Yeah, I definitely want to add an open mic night. We currently have I Isaac Lawrence plays every first Wednesday.
Yeah.
And we have a nice room for music now. We fixed it up pretty good. So we'd like to start adding more live music on, maybe after the restaurant closes at 9, we'll do some things from 9 to 1 on Fridays and Saturdays. Once we have somebody there to help me run it. So.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Especially, with that side room, I think it's just kind of how we talked with your menu is so diverse. It's almost like, we talked about you can go there and have your fine wine dining, but then you can also go and just have like a Wednesday night relaxing or,
And that's exactly what we aim for. Like I said, with COVID, it made us rethink of our revenue streams.
Yes.
And the more you have, the better. And the more you can do well. And we just didn't want to half it, we wanted to do it well.
Yeah. And that's what's good about, the restaurants that took COVID, and instead of just being like, well, this sucks, this is what we do, we're not going to think out of the box, you guys really were like, well, we've got to kind of be a chameleon in what COVID's happening, and then you've even taken that and then transform it into more of what you continue to do.
Well, that's what I think people liked it. So that's what we're I want to make people happy. That's my number one job.
Yeah. Whether
it be through a good atmosphere or a wonderful meal.
Yeah, because it's almost like you want to feed them, obviously, but you want to give them that experience.
Right.
And that's what I always say, people come for the experience. You can have the best food in the world, but if they come and they're like, this is great, but this is kind of lame, it's like people will pay $100 for a milkshake if it's
dolled up enough.
If it's dolled up and the place is cool and you have a good time.
Right.
And
our biggest challenge, I think, is because I think that everybody's kind of used to fast food.
Yeah.
So our biggest complaint of by far is that it takes too long to eat with us. And I've been trying to do everything to fix it, but it's everything. We don't pre-cook anything. It's made when you walk in the door. And so maybe I'm a victim of what I used to do, because fine dining, you were out for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
That was normal. It was a two-top. A big table would spend 3 hours.
Yeah.
Because you're eating different things, you're trying your wine, you're out getting away from whatever you need to get away from,
Yeah.
So I think that, we've tried, we do have some quick order items that if that's what you're interested into. And that's why we didn't reopen for lunch, to be honest, is because a lot of people, I understand, they have to be back to the office. They have a half hour.
Right.
And we're not that place. So,
yeah.
We might consider down the road, we've thought about doing like a Friday brunch type thing or a Saturday brunch, down the road. If I can, staffing is just, I don't want to be another one to complain, but it is hard to find people right now.
Yeah, and it's like you want to do these things, but you don't have the people to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I want to do a good job at them. I could do them, but, once again, we would do it in half measure.
You want to do it fully and what you want it to be. So we're going to dive into your life. So you're married.
Married.
Children.
My wife for 20 years, and then we have 4 children together, and then I have 2 older children, so I have 6.
Wow.
My oldest son is Caleb. He's in film school out in LA.
Ooh, wow.
He got out of the Navy, did 4 years in the Navy, and then went out there. My daughter Haley, she is back in Pittsburgh, and she's married and has 4 kids. And then I still have 4 at home, all the way down to 6-year-old.
Oh, that's
Ben's 6, and
Yeah.
Audrey's 8, and Henry's 15, going on 45. And Molly's 19, she's going to Marion.
Yeah.
And then she works for me. Henry and Molly both work for me.
So which one do you think out of your 6 children will take?
None.
None
No.
will take the chef hat?
They can learn to cook. I push them away from it.
Really?
It's a hard job, man.
Yeah.
It really is. It's if they wanted to do it and it was in their blood like mine, then I'd encourage it. But so far, Molly's really good. She's good in the front of the house. She likes what she does.
Yeah.
Very personal.
And you don't want to push them and they just do it.
No, I don't want to be that dad that's like, you have to do what daddy did.
Yeah, like take over the business, please.
Right. And usually someone, I've noticed with working, I never worked corporate. I worked 1 year of corporate after the military, and the military is very corporate.
Yeah, yeah.
But I used to work for families, and eventually one of the kids goes out and does something and comes back and wants to do it. So I hope for that. I'd like to be around.
Or one of your grandchildren.
What's that?
One of your grandchildren.
Maybe
You never
one of
know.
my
One of
grandkids, yeah. Oh, for sure.
skip generation.
Yeah. Somebody works for me.
That's right.
Yeah. So yeah. And Abby, she was our bartender in between jobs. She likes the job, but she does something else. So and she's lucky enough to work from home. So I'm jealous of her.
I know. Yeah.
See, I'm jealous of them because I feel like if I was a teenager and it's like, my dad owns this cool restaurant, I'm like, that would be an awesome life.
Right. Yeah.
They eat well. That's
I was gonna say they definitely eat well, especially like the cannolis.
Yeah.
Are you bringing back the blueberry cannolis?
Oh, anytime. Yeah, when they're, we just, I haven't heard.
I try to watch for them.
Yeah, cool. I'll bring it back. There's strawberry right now.
Oh,
Because the strawberries
see,
are-
that's
Oh, I didn't
I don't
try the
like
strawberry.
But strawberry sounds good.
Yeah, strawberries.
cannolis are so good.
Yeah.
The one time it was like, I think a year or so, I finally, because I mean, once I feel like you put something out there, everybody wants it and then it's gone. I got, because it's like 3 or so to a thing, I got like 6 of them and I was like, I'm going to have them. Yes, I'm going to have them. But then I realized that those are the kind of people I complain with. They like take them all, but I'm like, no, I'm getting the
Oh, at the buffet. When I did the
Yeah, I was
buffet,
like, I'm getting them.
Yeah, buffets are hard, man. I did a buffet at the Worthington Inn for years, and I mean, we would do 850 people on Mother's Day. 2 buffets, one on the top floor, one on the bottom. And it was difficult, because you have to cook for a buffet, which means all the food has to stay kind of moist, and fresh. And then you have to cook. You can't run out of anything because you came for this and you came for this. So.
Yeah.
And then I'm not a buffet eater. I go to some of them, but I'm pretty specific about what I want to eat. And I tend to overeat at buffets too.
Yeah.
Because it's all there.
Well, right, then you
I
can
have
just
to
get as
have
much
some.
as
It's
you want.
free.
Yeah.
I'm like, this doesn't cost extra.
No.
Yeah, like, just keep eating it.
And then driving home like, oh.
Like, oh,
I do that in Mexico. If I go to Mexican,
Yeah.
look at all these chips. And I love, we like to go. That's like one of our favorite things to have. Something for everybody.
Well, then it's good. So it's one of those of like you're full, but
You keep eating,
Because
right? No,
Mexican
exactly.
something like you can't really reheat because it's usually sauce and
Right.
all that stuff. So it's like, well, I don't want to.
And you're usually drinking an ice cold beverage.
Yes. Yeah. So then you want to keep drinking and eating
Yeah.
and enjoying the atmosphere.
Or like Amish buffets.
Oh
Yeah,
no, I'm in the
that's-
Amish.
yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're Dutchman.
They're Dutchman.
Yeah.
It's so good, but it's all like mashed potatoes, corn,
Right.
fried chicken.
Fried chicken.
So it's just like Thanksgiving food all year round. And you just go nuts because it's a buffet and you like
Yeah.
are waddling to the car.
It's
So
like,
I like do that to
oh
myself.
gosh.
Sushi. I'll stick with that.
We do love
Sushi.
sushi.
Oh, sorry, I just got excited. I did a study abroad to
Oh,
Japan
nice.
back
She
in college.
very
can,
good.
she can speak Japanese.
Very
Choto, sushi.
nice.
I was thinking, I'm like, can you just teach me so like if we're meeting and we need to get out, we can say something.
I like West
Okay.
over in Finland.
My favorite thing ever is a kaiten.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you sit down at a table and you just order your tea, and then there's a little conveyor belt that goes
Oh, yeah.
by, and when you see the sushi you want, you grab it,
Right.
and you just sit there and do that the whole time, and at the end, the
Oh.
waitress will come and she'll like
Add
count
your
your plates,
dishes,
and depending on the color, it was mostly like hyakuen, nihakuen, which is like, this is a $1 plate, this is a $2
Right.
plate. So at the end, it was like $15, but I had a bunch of sushi,
Nice.
Ooh.
and
They
they
had
all
one in Columbus for a real
Do
quick
they?
minute. They did.
Oh,
And the
okay.
owner's parents got sick and he moved back.
See, my aunt lives in Seattle, so last time I went to visit her, I'm like, is there a kaiten nearby? And she goes, yeah, like 2 hours
We
that
like-
way.
What's the menu whenever you go in and just tell the chef to cook it? Do you know what that's called? It's on Saku or it's I can't say it. But there's
I don't
a
remember.
menu where it's like you don't look at the menu and he'll look at you and decide what you're gonna have.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
It was amazing. Yeah, I was lucky enough to open a pizza shop in Hawaii on Oahu. My old bosses owned a hotel there, and they wanted to open a pizza shop. So I went to this guy, and he's called the soup Nazi on Seinfeld. This guy's the sushi
Yeah.
Nazi. He has all these rules, and he kicks people out for doing it wrong. And if your cell phone goes off, he kicks you out.
Yeah. Like,
He's
yeah.
famous for that.
Yeah.
It was amazing. And he said, it was just amazing. So, all designed to be one bite. That's what I love about it.
Yeah, because it's like,
You get
it's
the
supposed
whole
to be a
meal.
flavor experience,
Yes.
and each little one is crafted intricately.
Right.
And
Well, at
there's-
our dinner, we're doing firecracker tuna, which is a raw preparation with wasabi and
Ooh, no,
texture.
I
I
ate
need to
wasabi
show
one
up.
time.
Yeah.
I ate it one time. I didn't know what it was.
yeah. Some people,
I
I've
can't eat
had
it.
people send it back and said, "You've sent bait out to my table."
Yeah, but then I will eat there and just like scoop
Oh, I
up.
love it.
Oh
Have
my.
you ever had the wasabi peas?
Oh yeah. they're
No.
delicious.
It's
Anything
it's
wasabi,
like-
I'm too scared to eat it now.
Trader Joe's.
They're so good.
You can get bags of them.
No, I accidentally, because I got the Kroger sushi,
Well,
and it like I was like, what is this green stuff? And I like ate it, and I was like,
did you have some gas station pizza for it?
hey, listen, I don't knock any sushi. I love it. It's great. But yeah, okay. So how long were you in the military for?
I was in almost 7 years.
7 years.
Yeah, I was in the Air Force. I was in during the first Desert Storm. was in England, so our planes left from England. I was a MP. Yeah, a cop.
Oh, okay.
Basically. Yeah.
Wow.
I did that, and then, like I said, I kind of went in to pay for my college, to help
I was
with
gonna
my
say,
college.
yeah.
So I liked the military. It was fun, and I'm glad I served.
Yeah, you gotta meet some cool people.
Yeah, definitely. Got to
Yeah.
travel. I lived in England for 4 years. I lived in California, in Texas.
So what's been your favorite state besides Ohio? Just so you're not biased.
I don't know. I didn't love California. I'll be honest. I was in the high desert, and there's just so many dang people, and we were out in the middle of nowhere. And the best thing is I didn't have allergies. Like the hardest part for me where I live now is right now I can't breathe.
Yep.
Because
complain all the
corn
time
and
about
beans,
allergies.
corn beans.
Yep.
Yeah. So the high desert was beautiful, but like there was just you get out and there's 8-lane, 10-lane highways. I just went down to Columbus yesterday. And you leave Columbus and I just don't even go back because I see what everybody would complain about with the traffic and going down there. It's crazy.
Well, like some people, like they have to leave work 2 hours early or 3 hours early, and it's like
that's how they would drive down to the high desert. From the high desert, you go through Cajon Pass down to LA, and to get to San Bernardino, I think your commute in the morning was 3 hours, 3.5 hours.
Oh my gosh.
And I did that. I commuted from Columbus to Harpster, where I live.
Yeah.
And that was 1 hour and 20 every day. And it's a straight drive. It's like not very exciting. A lot of books on tape.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm like, that's kind of a straight shot, so it's nothing really to look at.
And then the military taught me nothing about cooking, so it's weird. It's like all my friends that I served with, they all went out to become sheriffs and police department guys, FBI and stuff.
And it's crazy that you went to college to do something else, and then just cooking to get through it.
Well,
and
and it's weird when that happens. You find something, you're like, I'm blessed. I'm blessed 1,000 times, but one of the ways I'm blessed is that when I discovered that, I was like, I get to do this, and I love it. So I love coming to work every day. It doesn't bother me. I spend 12, 14 hours every day at work. But now that I have my own place, it's way better because I get to listen to my own music now.
You get to control the ship.
Right. So it's, and but you're next on the line too. And I've hired some really, really fabulous people to work with. So everybody likes what they do whenever they come to work, and so like I said, you feel very blessed when you're around people that enjoy what they're doing. It makes it easier. It doesn't feel like so much of a job.
Right. It's like one of those we've talked about this. It's like you're blessed because you're the boss. So it's like you gotta kind of decide what everything is, but then also then you're the person that if something goes wrong,
it comes up.
There's nobody after me.
Right. And you have to be the one to do it too.
You gotta fix it.
And take it.
Get better from it.
There is a little bit of I'm like, whew, someone calls us something and I get to go, I don't know. I can't handle that. That's an Amanda problem.
That's me.
And I'm not very good at it. Because it was funny when I first started front of the house managing at the Worthington Inn, they'd say, table 7 has a problem. Can you go out and talk to him? And I never wanted to wear a suit. I always wore my chef coat because they treat you a little differently. So I'd go out and I would approach the table and I would say, okay, what's the problem? And that's the worst thing you can say. Because that's when I was a police officer, that's what you said.
Yeah.
What's going on? What's the issue? And then when you go to a table where people really don't have an issue, you're giving them one.
Right. They're like, oh, well, you're my problem now.
And after a while, the waitresses would just say, he's making the face, don't go out. What's your
problem? What I did?
Right.
Yeah. It's hard not to be defensive when you're like, no, I put my best efforts.
And it is a lot of defense. So you have to learn to humble yourself and understand that in what you said earlier is very, very true. It's about the experience. It's not just about the food. And for years being a chef, I thought it was all about food. And it's not. It's about how you were greeted when you walked in, how long it took to get your drink. Do you want to be left alone? Do you want to have a business meeting? Does that person pick up on that that's waiting on you?
Yeah, and your waitress can make all of that. I mean, you can have a waitress and you're like, oh my gosh, she was great.
Right. For sure. Yeah, this wasn't very good, but she's hilarious.
Like, she was great. Oh wow, she made everything. Like, I mean, we've had it, obviously, everybody goes to restaurants, so they get messed up. And it's just how that, instead of somebody like, what's your problem, man?
Right.
You're sitting there and you're like, you can have a waitress that's like, oh my gosh, so sorry that happened. Let me get this fixed for you. And it's like, oh, she was so great about it. Or you can have somebody that's like, oh, this way you ordered.
Right. Exactly.
So it's like, too, you have to make sure you hire those people that are going to kind of be you out there.
Right, for sure. It's going to represent what you want for the business.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that saying that, the customer's always right, that's mostly true. You know, I mean, because it's perception. Perception is everything.
Yeah.
You know, if I can go back to the cook and say, hey, that sandwich took too long ago. Well, it was only this long. Well, it doesn't matter. It felt like this long.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It was, and that has to do with the atmosphere. You know, and how are you? So your food's going to take a little longer. How are you treated while it was coming out? Did you have bread? Did you have water? Did you have fresh
Right.
meat?
Did they offer you something to get you by, or like we had? What was it? The Bloody Marys when they first came out.
I wish they stayed around. Yeah, we couldn't
Those
do
are
that.
amazing.
I know. Maybe Monday night was a bad night for me. I started.
No, I thought it was awesome. I was like, this is a whole meal,
Yeah,
right?
Right.
He was like, "Do you want to order anything else?" We're like, "No."
No, we had guests all the time doing that. They did two, and that was it. No
Yeah.
kidding.
It's
And I
a
was
whole
fine
meal on
with it.
top. Like we're good. We're
Right.
cool.
And if we do the brunch again, we'll do something. You know, I'd like to come back to at least one day where we're cooking.
Yes.
We also thought about doing like grab and go on salads, you know, and
Yeah.
stuff like that, because those are things we can make pretty easy without bringing in a whole lunch crew, and they're quick, and that's the thing.
We would do grab and go.
There's plenty of
I
pizza
would
you
do
can
that.
get for lunch. You know,
Get the famous like the Kardashian salad bowls.
what are those? You
They're
eat 'em?
like the they're like the
No, really?
it's like the bowls that you just like go in and it's like everything is on top and you just shake it and it's all mixed up.
Oh
You just
yeah.
grab it.
Oh for sure.
Like that'd be cool just to
Yeah.
go in and grab that.
Yeah, I thought about getting a cooler, like putting it out front, you know, and having something that people just stop in or call.
Yeah.
So we're gonna add that. I actually do that for some people in town already because
Yeah.
we're there cooking. So I have some friends from Bucyrus, and that's another thing. We get a lot of guests from Bucyrus, from Marion. We get a lot of guests from Cary and
Yeah.
Finley, and that's good. That's all. We want the vibrancy, you know. And what's nice is if they come to town for us or some other place, I want them to have an alternative, and we do. You know, we have nice little restaurants around here that they can go to.
Right, and it's all a little bit different. So,
All a little bit different.
yeah, so they can go to yours one day and then see Shopsy's and be like, oh, that's just like
I want
or
to
like just whatever you want to eat. So it's like,
Right.
let's try this the next time. So it's really
And that,
bounce off each other.
patio they're building this steer barn was sweet. I haven't had any chance to get up, but when I was
So
at the pizza
awesome.
shop, I used to always say, they need a big patio, and he put it right where it needed to go. It's
Yeah, we go out there quite a bit now because I mean the Lucases have done amazing taking
beautiful. Yeah,
it
beautiful.
to an experience of kind of like what you're doing is you can go for both now.
Right. I think it's important. I think that dining has changed.
It has.
And if you're not doing that, we were doing that in downtown, you know, years ago.
Yep.
Because we realized that the Worthington Inn had this formal kind of, you went there and stayed, and it was formal deal, but we had a beautiful bar.
Mhm.
So we brought in nachos and all kinds of stuff, so the neighborhood could use it.
Yeah, and I think that's like a huge thing is you have to conform as much as some people don't want to is like the new age.
Yeah.
And they want to come and they want to have an experience, and some of them want it's so diverse. Someone wants a fancy
Right.
sit down. Some people just want to go with their friends, and then they want to feel welcome no matter what they come
Yeah,
to.
even the big cities like New York are doing it more casual.
Yeah.
I think that's where, because you got to cater to the people that are working and have the money right now.
Right,
That's
yeah.
yeah.
So one thing we always ask our guests is what is that you can tell us is the most crazy experience that you've had happen in any of the restaurants you've worked for, or now that you've like stood there and you're like, what the heck?
If you feel
Like, have you
comfortable.
ever
Yeah.
had anybody yell at you so much that
Oh,
you
of
just stood there,
course,
or
yes.
did you like
I have.
burn a
You
place down?
can go to Yelp.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had guy. Yeah, I've had a lot of crazy. I got one quick one that I could tell.
Yeah.
I have a whole bunch, but for a while there, you know, we had a very small, slight front of the house manager, and so if there was an incident, they'd always come get the chef and I'd throw him out. And they said it was a busy night, and they said there's this guy at the bar, and he said all he wants is a soda and he'll leave, but we can't, you know, we don't know what to do. Well, I said, what's wrong? He said, you'll see when you get out there. And I walk around the corner, and the guy has, I'd say, 10 suit coats on, one after another. They're from the thrift store. They have all the tags hanging off and stuff, and 8 pair of sunglasses on his head. And so I'm like, oh, what's going on here? So I belly up to the bar with him, and I slide up, and I go, how you doing, buddy? And he looks at me and goes, I said if I could have a Coke, I'd leave. I told the bartender, get him a Coke. And he got a Coke, and he goes, okay, see you later. He walked out. Easiest guy I ever had to bounce.
Oh my gosh.
All these coats on now, so yeah. I have a ton of them. I mean, I've been in the business for 29 years, so
Right.
yeah.
Wow.
So lots of experiences with that. Most of them I can't talk about.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think most of them will probably be pretty intense.
Yeah, they are.
But yeah, and that's the hard part is, you know, usually like they want to talk to the chef or whoever,
Yeah,
and
for
you get
sure.
pulled out.
I've been yelled at so many times. You have to take it. We ran out of stuffing on my second Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And you're talking about 700-800 people. And there was a guy who was very upset about it. We had already sent someone to the store to get some backup because, we made it all from scratch, but, at the end we ran out. So we had this. So they said, you need to talk to the stable chef. This guy's really upset. And I said, all right, I'll talk to him, And they had already eaten there, getting up to leave. It was a table of 6. And their bill was over $300, And I go to walk out and looking around the corner of the dining room, there's this giant weightlifter. And he's like huge man in a big, nice suit. And he's about 26 years old, and he's physically crying. Physically, like, oh, this thing. And he's telling how he's grown up his whole life and never mixed fixings, and he can't believe we ruined his life. And I looked out and I said, buy the table. I'm not going out there.
No, just we'll just take
I said, just take care of the bill. I can't do it.
I'm not going to deal with it over.
He was physically crying. It was a roid rage or something.
I was going to say, there's something that's making him cry besides stuffing. And if he's going to get out for stuffing,
so that's a couple.
It's not going to end well if you go out there. That's great. Well, we usually end with, checking in on how can they find you.
Okay, yeah, we're our Facebook page. We try to update it every day with our specials. So if you go to Don Tomasso's on Facebook, that's the best. Don Tomasso's Pizza, www.dontomassospizza.com is our website. And then our phone number is 419-294-0500. We're at 123 West Wyandot.
There you go.
Across from the post office.
And your current hours?
Right now we open from 4 to 9 every day except for Sunday. We're hoping to change that and start getting open later on the weekends. And like I said, we might come into a spot where we're going to do one lunch a week or one kind of brunchy thing a week. So if we get some feedback and that sounds like a good idea, we'll do it.
Yeah. And if you want to come to the dinner tonight, just give them a call and see if there's still seats available. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming. And if you're looking on YouTube, you can see the amazing food that me and Hannah get at Devour, so we appreciate that.
Super excited about that.
Yeah, stop in and visit Don Tomasso and say you want to meet the cook and say hello and enjoy a little bit of our
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. Very nice.